You know you gotta pay for that, right? Hey.
Not okay.
Logan, she's very much like you.
No. No.
She can learn to be better.
Better than me?
Actually, yes. Rated R.
Hey YouTubers, happy Super Bowl weekend. There's going to be crazy new footage, so let's break it down. The funny thing about this is just the idea that she is a feral animal in the way that Wolverine was a feral animal when Professor X first started working with him. So the big joke is just in this adorable little girl being crazy inappropriate, just like Wolverine, getting ready to chop everyone's heads off. There's going to be a whole lot more of this weekend from all the other studios. I'll be posting trailer videos. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. There's going to be a giveaway going on that I'll explain at the end of the video. But right now, this little girl is my favorite new female character in any Marvel movie from any studio. Now, there are a whole lot of really powerful female characters, but she just totally wins you over with her craziness. So appropriate given the battle that's going to be happening on the football field. They're playing up the funny moments, but you see how this is a mirror of that X-2 scene where Wolverine himself almost flips out on someone when he's grabbing a beer. They're also hyping up it runs in the family, so they're being more open about who she is, where she comes from. I did another video about X-23 herself, so I'll add a link at the end of this, but she's essentially a clone of Wolverine, but in the comics, her relationship with Logan is a little more contentious. She's grown to a full adult, and this she's more of a child, so she becomes more of a daughter to him. The other funny thing they've explained is you see him driving Professor X around in the back of this car here, driving her around, is that when he's been hiding out in this town on the border of Mexico, he's been working as a limousine driver. The great and powerful Wolverine working as a limo driver. You can see Professor X shaking his fists in the back, asking for sandwiches. The funny thing about that, like we were just talking about that X2 scene with Wolverine and the cat, in X2, he's driving around that band of young X-Men. I've always felt like Wolverine works best when you pair him with younger characters that are more innocent. He's this super hardcore dude who's forced to confront his humanity when he sees these innocent people that need his help.
I don't think that's the CD player.
Whoa. Sit back.
Where are we going?
Storm and Gene are in Boston. We'll head that way.
My parents live in Boston.
Good.
And the really cool thing that I'm excited for, really from all superhero movies, Marvel's doing this too, I'll explain at the end of the video, is more intimate, small crossovers like this. There have also been a couple really important people that have come out and explained those comics that she's walking around with too. So it wasn't really clear from the previous trailers just because it was like really low res, but it says X-Men Comics Group. They're basically fake comics that were made for the movie by Joe Quesada, Mr. Marvel himself. He used to be Marvel's creative director, but he was an artist for a long time, wrote a bunch of comics. So he and another artist made those covers specifically for this movie just because of the weird copyright issues with them actually using real Marvel comics in the movies. So I know it sounds weird, but it's just meant to hype up the idea of all these crazy adventures and the legends of the X-Men inside the universe of this film. And a lot of people were asking too about Hugh Jackman making a comment saying that it's not in the same universe as the main X-Men films. The director James Mangold came out after that and said that people probably misinterpreted what he was saying or he misspoke a little bit because it's not completely set in a different universe. It's just set right after that post-credits scene in Days of Future Past in the future timeline that they've fixed where everyone's still alive. If you haven't seen that movie in a while, what happens is that there's this post-apocalyptic timeline with an older version of all the characters that are still alive. They've banded together with Magneto's Brotherhood of Mutants, so they send Wolverine into the past to try and change things for the better. They're successful, and when Wolverine wakes up, he wakes up in the X-Mansion which hasn't been destroyed, and it was sort of Bryan Singer's way to wave his hand over all the craziness that had happened after he left the franchise. So X-3 was gone, Jean Grey was alive, she hadn't become the Phoenix, he wasn't forced to kill her, Professor X is back, and he has this brief memory of what used to happen because he's reading Logan's mind, and Logan's the only one that remembers this previous timeline.
You did it.
Did what? Logan, don't you have a class to teach?
A class to teach.
History.
History. Actually, I could use some help with that.
Help with what?
Pretty much everything after 1973. I think the history I know is a little different.
Welcome back.
It's good to see you, Charles. It's good to see everyone.
Well, I had a promise to keep. You and I have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
This movie set many years after that. Logan's buried most of his friends. He's trying to take care of Professor X, who is slowly dying himself, but still very powerful. But they released a little more footage explaining a little bit about the pockets of other mutants that are still alive that they're trying to find. So it's not like they're the last mutants on the planet, but you guys can let me know, because this is set so far in the future, how do you want them to reincorporate the characters in the future films? Because I'll do a separate video about it at some point, because it's almost like the Deadpool universe now, the way that character's become so popular, he's influencing the way they're thinking about doing crossover movies. They said that they're doing the Marvel Phase 4 style thing, where they're going to do a lot of smaller crossovers mixed with the bigger tentpole films, which if you didn't know is basically what's happening in Marvel Phase 4. There'll still be the big Avengers crossovers, but most of the films that you see will be crossover movies. So like Iron Man showing up in a Spider-Man film, Winter Soldier showing back up during Black Panther, things like that. There'll be more crossover movies. They'll still be very cool, very big movies. It's just that you're headed up for a lot of people popping up in other people's movies. So the same thing I think is going to be happening with the DC movies and with the X-Men Fox movies. So that actually makes me really excited. I totally love these smaller films. I think Logan is going to be amazing. There's going to be a whole bunch more Super Bowl trailer stuff happening this weekend, so I'll try to post that as fast as possible. Just explain that giveaway I mentioned at the beginning of the video too. Because the movie's coming out in a couple weeks, which is awesome, it's for IMAX gift certificates, or gift certificates even if the movie's not in IMAX. So standard rules apply. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, leave a comment on this video. I'll announce winners as I post the new Super Bowl trailer videos, so make sure you check those out as I post them. As long as you have alerts enabled, you should be able to get everything. But I do have a teaser for Grant Gustin getting a new version of the Flash suit, so I'll post that next. But you guys can let me know if you want me to do another video for that other Wolverine Logan footage. While you wait for that to post, you can click here for more Super Bowl trailers, and you can click here to learn all about X-23's backstory. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you in the next video.